Hello and welcome, I'm Raziel, and so the question of today, which would be quite odd, and is, are smaller games better? Now, a bit of a preface to this, or context, on my own personal opinion and why that is I'm self-employed. I work very long hours. I'm lucky enough to be able to work from home, which means I can paint and build at my desk while I work, so that's kind of cool. Now, but it also means like when I do my videos for YouTube, I have to do these. These are usually done during my lunch break. That's time where I'm just sitting down, relaxing, and talking about whatever, especially when it's about wargaming. But like I said, time is a very valuable commodity to me. It really is. So when it comes to games, I prefer skirmish games. I've never made a secret of this. I've never said anything to the contrary. I like skirmish games. Examples of my favourite games right now are Judge Dredd, which I talked about the other day. There is, and I did a review for as well, Worldrest Exodus, of course, being my favourite game. And best example I can give is Conquest: The First Blood. I prefer it to Conquest: The Last Argument of Kings. So the first aspect to me is the time. The time it takes to play a skirmish game, for me personally, is very short. It's about an hour at best. Doesn't matter which game you play. Skirmish games are very, very quick. It doesn't matter which game you play. Worldrest Exodus, Judge Dredd, The First Blood, even Necromunda and Kill Team. They're very fast-paced games, and they work very well for people who are on time budgets. And I think this is one of the things that really attracts me to a skirmish game, because I can get a game and I can, play it and go, that's pretty cool. Whereas a battle game such as Firefight, Kings of War, The Last Argument of Kings, even 40k or Age of Sigmar or The Old World can take too long. And if someone wants to play, a game with me, I would pretty much have to take a day off work to play that game. And sometimes that's just not feasible. I'm not flaky, but because of my job, if I get for us to play a game, it'll be literally, right, give me a date. And more often than not, unfortunately, I literally have to text them, message them the day before and say, look, I cannot make it tomorrow. My workload is very, very busy. I'm very busy tomorrow. I can't do it. I do apologise. But also, when you do have to, make sure you tell them at least the day before you can't do it. That's just politeness. And like myself, you might be in that sort of situation. So, first things first, obviously it's the time and the speed it takes to play a game. I can have a quick game very quickly. I didn't like saying that. That sounded quite redundant. The next is the financial aspect. Now, I'm on a pretty good budget for my wargaming. I can spend quite a bit and not worry. I'm not bragging about my financial situation here. I'm just talking about that I could, not that I do. Because, I'm sensible. So when it comes to skirmish games, I like them because they need a very small amount to play the game. Worldrest Exodus is pretty much the best example. War Cradle are very fond of this one box. I would say that's what they do. You buy one box, that's it. That's all you need for any of their games. Dystopian Wars, Worldrest Exodus, and it looks like Armoured Clash is going down the same way. So even if you just buy the starter set, that's going to set you out for the full edition of Worldrest Exodus. And good news, because I know some of you guys do like Worldrest Exodus because of me. Yay! I'm so happy. Good news, we are actually going to be getting some new stuff, but we have to wait. But then we do know new stuff for WWX is coming. Woo-hoo. But you just need the one box. You just need the starter set. Or you just need the posse that you like. Like myself, if you are like myself, I like the Warrior Nations. I just need to pick 5-6 models from my force, which is almost every single Warrior Nation model, by the way. Bar one, which is the Raging Bear. And then I have a force. So I got a quick force. Even though my collection is large, I can make a quick force. But if you're starting into Worldrest Exodus, you just go, okay, I like the Union. You can either go starter box, or you can go, I would say Infernal Affairs, but that says Lawman on the box, but it is also a Union box. Secret Service, or No Surrender. You could just need to buy that one box. The rules are free. You need to get the dice as well. Data sheets are free. You know, so you don't really need to buy much on top, and it's a very low starting point to play a game and paint miniatures. And I think that's one of the best bits. Same with, I mean, we can even look at Kill Team for 40k, and really weird, I've got to say this, but you can pay very little for one of their boxes to play Kill Team, like the Cat Chan, which is one of their cheapest boxes they got at the moment, and then you're set to play Kill Team. And this goes on with, and even cheaper is Judge Dredd, because if you're doing judges, you need so few models, it's not funny. I mean, 2 is what they give you in the box for judges, but like specialist judges, you just need to spend about £20. You're going to need to get the rulebook, but I believe you can get that through online, even though it might not be through their website. And so you need to spend very little to actually start a skirmish game. And it doesn't matter which skirmish game it is. The same with Conquest First Blood. You can either buy a box, or you can buy one of their warbands. Their warbands are around about 40 quid, and it gives you a nice selection of models for that faction, like Old Dominion, Spires, and Radron, which are 3 I'm painting at the moment. So again, it's this very, very low financial input as well, but it's very low cost financially first, and pretty much ever. Now, another good one is that because of that low financial first step, you get to experiment more with different factions. You get to say, you know, I'm just finished I do Spires. I'm doing an Old Dominion one for the last for the First Blood and Radron, and I might go, do you know what? I like painting these. Maybe I'll go with the 100 Kingdoms, which is really tempting me at the moment, by the way, or the Dreghorn. And the same with Warrior Nations. You can go Warrior Nations, Worldrest Exodus. Go Warrior Nations, Watchers, Union. It means you're not stuck to a single faction and spending hundreds of pounds on a single faction, and then kind of saying, well, I've got my army, and then when you play it, you go, actually, I just don't feel this. You can easily go and buy a different faction, and it'll cost you a lot less than if you had to buy the full army. And it means you can experiment as well. Like, you can really get into the groove of which faction you like the best. Then my final point I'm going to make for this video, because trust me, I could go on even further, is the narrative side. Now, I'm not saying you can't do a good narrative campaign with a big army. How even I'd like doing games where you go through all the types of games. Like if I'm at the moment writing a Worldrest X campaign, which starts with Dystopian Age campaign, which goes through Worldrest Exodus, Dystopian Wars, and Armoured Clash, all being combined within this force. It's just working out some of the allies at the moment for the WWX models. But you can, and I'm not saying it otherwise, but when it comes to a small skirmish game, each model has a more personal tale to tell rather than a unit. So you can get a very nice narrative going, which is far more personal and even more in depth, if you wish, on each individual model. And you can really play a story out and what each character does, rather than what a whole unit does. And when it comes to games with allies, you could do that too, as well, which is fine. It's absolutely great. So you get to tell a more deeper and in-depth and immersive story via a skirmish game than you would, say, 40k, Last Argument of Kings, any other game. And I think those are my top reasons why I like skirmish games. So I think smaller are better. I'm not going to give any negatives on this one. I just want to hear your points of view on this. I might do the counter on why bigger games are better later down the line, but we'll see what comes. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you all have a lovely day. And I'll see you on the next one. And don't forget, if you wish to save money on your wargaming, there's Whaling Games down below, up to 20% off your wargames and free delivery after £20. There's also Forbidden Planet for comics, DVDs, mangas, toys, plushies, all that cool geeky stuff. There is also my merchandise as well. There's my comics, if you want to see Little Red Riding Hood go ham on some cyborg werewolves, which is now being incorporated in a bigger universe, which I am collaborating with my friend AS Productions. So I'll see if I'll get the link and leave that down below as well. And then there's Skyforge. Never forget Skyforge. I always forget before I say don't forget. Or just, don't forget Skyforge. Good friend of mine. Let's get him out that Google algorithm. And finally, Patreon because business. Bye bye.